Namaste and welcome to today's episode of TV9 News' Political Insights by me, your host, Priyanka Deo. Myanmar continues to make headlines, especially after the nation's armed forces allegedly killed at least 114 civilians, including children, in one day. Now, that's according to local media. Here's what you need to know about Myanmar and why India and you as a netizen should care. First, a bit of context. Myanmar's military has launched a coup against Myanmar's most popular political party, the National League for Democracy or NLD party, and party leader Aung San Suu Kyi, who is a former Nobel Peace Prize winner. The military had ruled Myanmar for decades until 2011, and this received economic and political outcry and pressure from several nations, including the US. This was when Myanmar military ceded some control, and in 2015, the NLD became the nation's ruling party after a landslide victory in the elections and has been in power until the coup. 2. Why the coup? Myanmar has struggled between military and civilian or democratic leadership since 1948. However, the armed forces known as the Tatmadaw has stayed the most powerful institution this entire time. In the 1980s, NLD leader and founder Aung San Suu Kyi gave rise to a civilian pro-democracy movement. And in 2021, the coup was launched by the armed forces because they feared that 5 decades of authority that they enjoyed would come to an end. Now, since the NLD has been in power since winning the elections in 2015, the armed forces have launched the coup to suppress the NLD party and Myanmar's budding democracy. 3. Myanmar and democracy. It's safe to say that Myanmar, under military authoritarian rule, has really not fared well with the international community. The United States has placed sanctions on Myanmar with the aim of compelling the armed forces to enact democratic reforms and stop abusing human rights. The NLD party came into light because the armed forces thought it was wise to give in to this a little bit, especially with heavy sanctions and pressure from nations like the USA towards a more democratic system. That's why in 2015, the NLD won 77% of seats in Myanmar's parliament after the country had its first recognized fair and free election in 25 years. NLD leader Suu Kyi had the title of state councillor, which allowed her to govern. As a result, the US lifted its sanctions on the country that had been in place for 2 decades. 4. Why is Myanmar making headlines today? In Feb 2021, Myanmar's armed forces launched a coup against the NLD to regain control. But on March 27, just a few days ago, Myanmar soldiers and police allegedly have killed at least 114 people, including children, to suppress protests against the coup. Now, all these deaths ironically occurred while the armed forces in Myanmar celebrated Myanmar's Armed Forces Day this past weekend. 5. The international community's reaction. Killing the protesters has attracted criticism internationally, and unsurprisingly, the delegation to Myanmar of the EU stated, and I quote, "This 76th Myanmar Armed Forces Day will stay engraved as a day of terror and dishonor. The killing of unarmed civilians, including children, are indefensible acts." U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken stated, and I quote, "We are horrified by the bloodshed perpetrated by Burmese security forces, showing that the junta will sacrifice people's lives and serve the few." The sad part is the number of deaths is likely to rise as the military is using more force to suppress the protests and protesters. Number 6, why should India care? Simple answer is illegal immigration. The Manipur government in the northeast has issued an order to control the illegal immigrants from Myanmar who are coming in as a result of this coup. Now, the order states that camps will not be set up to provide food and shelter, and any illegal immigrant will also respectfully be turned away from India's borders. Yes, although what's happening in Myanmar is sad, India still does need to maintain this hardline stance on illegal immigration. This is because offering food and shelter will do nothing but encourage more illegal immigrants to come in through our borders. A hardline stance is necessary to avoid an illegal immigrant and border security crisis. Now, illegal immigration is treated the same way in most countries, and India is doing nothing out of the ordinary. Under former American President Donald Trump, for example, the USA had a strict policy, including building a physical wall against illegal Mexican immigrants trying to cross the border to enter the United States of America. Similarly, India has rightfully adopted this hardline stance against illegal immigration, especially in the Northeast. Number 7, why should you care about this? On social media, many netizens have surprisingly disdained Manipur's order to turn away illegal immigrants. Now, one netizen, for example, has called Manipur's order shameless. But while supporting illegal immigration from Myanmar, this same netizen has opposed the CAA for illegal immigration. But this is both contradictory and factually incorrect. The CAA legally brings back to India religiously persecuted minorities from our neighboring Islamic states. How can somebody support illegal immigration in one instance and oppose illegal immigration in another instance? It's quite obvious that such netizens come with an agenda that clearly does not care about India nor about the sad situation in Myanmar. For this reason, I implore you to not be misled. Please understand the situation and context in Myanmar and its impact to India before you post, like, and share others' posts of this situation on social media. For this reason, please share this video as it's important for people to know. Thanks for watching Political Insights by me, Priyanka Deo. Please subscribe to TV9 News for more content from me and more. I'll see you tomorrow with a brand new episode. Namaste.